your nights?
I know a lot of everything.
I wouldn't say a lot. Just that one thing.
No, in my chalkboard 101, my class session.
Oh, true.
That's why I wanted that word to tell people how to say
True.
teach people how to do their name.
Okay.
So, say the name. Yeah.
Well, I know that's why I brought you in here is because I wanted to take an opportunity to provide you the platform that I built. You baby, so I wanted to make sure that you got to experience it too.
Yes,
and also because I know how much knowledge and experience, wisdom, opinion, all the good stuff that makes a human experience, in my opinion, as far as like what adds to a space, what adds to stuff. So the reason we're doing this is because we have Bari Boutique. You know what I mean? It's a wellness space, you feel me? And I would actually want to start off after you introduce yourself. I would actually like to get your opinion of the space. I haven't really asked anybody, and Miss Yasmin be always asking like, "Well, what do they think of this space?"
Yeah.
So when she watches this, I'm sure she'll enjoy that.
Yes. So you want me to tell you what I think about this space?
No, but you can tell me what you think about the space after you introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Tony.
Yeah.
I'm Tony Lavell, multi-dimensional geek.
Okay. So yeah, what do you think about the space?
I think the space is inviting. It feels like an invitation. Feels like an invitation to self-care, self-love, self-maintenance. It gives it has a certain warmth, elder vibe, like ancestral energy to it, especially with like the earth tones and the placement of everything. There's greenery, there's life, there's smell, there's color. And I pay attention to all of the elements of things that make it one thing cohesively, and it has all those things for me. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah, she definitely be taking her time with all of that. Like even when we're coming in and she gives me the standard of the procedure that just opening the store.
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn how to own that practice and be present in it because to me it just be like flicking on light switches and sweeping the floor. It just seems like tasks to me.
Yeah.
But I can understand like I understand. Period. I understand. That's why I do the best that I can to uphold the standard because I know that it delivers everything that you mentioned here. I know you'll definitely appreciate that because Lord knows if she would have asked me what you said, I don't know. She liked it.
She thought it was cool.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. She said it was cool.
Yeah. And I noticed too now is like the bass in here carries. Your voice sounds so pure and so nice in here. But it's like when I'm talking to the guys, our voices, they felt like we were loud as shit in here the whole time. Like, excuse my language, but yeah, like it was loud.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it echoed.
So I have a few questions here, but before I get into the questions,
yes.
I do want to know like how you're feeling being on camera for an interview. How many times you've interviewed? Like, where your energy at? Because that's, I know that's important. Look at Miss Michelle. You know what I'm saying, man? She about to come in. Come in. You come in. We ain't doing that. We taping the episode, but you good. You know what I mean? It's live. Yeah. Yeah. You know me, I always gotta make it messy. You know me, I gotta make it messy.
That's a good one.
Okay. Oh, I was in here thinking otherwise, but thank you for that context as well. Okay.
That was good.
All right.
So I didn't know if you were ready yet, but so I was going to just run over some things that I shared. But
Well, don't say anything because the camera on.
No. Okay, we'll talk later. Hi, Tony. Hi. How are you, love? Beautiful. Good. I'm good. Looking beautiful. Thank you, darling. You miss me? I do. I really do.
I'm waiting for cupcakes and
tea.
Yeah.
Cupcakes and tea.
We're doing cupcakes and tea
We
with
are.
Tony.
Talking machine.
I know.
I'm still running, right? It's got the red on it. You can see on my camera, it's got like a little red symbol on it that shows that it's recording. All right, never mind. You good. I know it's recording. I just wanted you to make me feel better.
Don't make me put my hand in front of you.
No, don't do that.
I'm like this.
I'll show you.
Enjoy the remaining of your show.
Thank
All right.
you. You go home?
Huh?
You gonna go for it?
Yeah. See if y'all was ready, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's warm today.
Yeah, it ain't too bad. I thought that early because Lord knows we had a whole little cold front in this joint like the last 5 days. It was like ice and snow and just depletion.
Tripping for real.
So yeah, shouts out. This gives me a perfect segue to shout out Miss Michelle and Candace because they actually sponsored the equipment. So she was coming in here to check on us. We out here in Lancaster where we're connecting the businesses that pour into us. And so part of that initiative is me doing social media and stuff like that. So she's the one who provided the chairs and the tables and the lights that we're using here. So, I'm not going to stop the footage from Miss Michelle because I really need to bring her in here and probably
big
do
love
as well.
to Miss Michelle.
Yeah, she's good. So initially I was asking like how you were feeling.
Being recorded and stuff.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Whenever I am in this type of position where I know I'm going to be like interviewed or questioned, it doesn't feel natural to me. So that's why I mentioned like, can it just be a conversation? Because I don't really know how to. Not only because they're limited, but I know how to be myself. So that's what I just prefer to do. And sometimes things can feel scripted or just like strategically placed and things like that. And I'm just like, that's just me. So I'm getting past the whole interview, sit down, record, and production side of things. So the more that I do it, I feel that I'll become more accustomed to doing so.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, with the structure and stuff, I'm not the biggest fan of all of the production stuff. What people see, most times you don't ever see what's behind the camera.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, especially like Hollywood, when I learned production, a lot of times what you see on set looks beautiful and everything behind the camera is just ugly warehouse. They don't beautify the whole space. They beautify just what they want to capture. Yeah. So it definitely can create a disconnect or an illusion. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then I also, that's why I spend more of my time in the space of journalism and documentation. We do want to add presentation to that as well. You like presentation.
I love.
Yeah, so it's like I'm interested in like understanding that a little bit more and helping other people probably navigate that as well, where structure and strategy can feel inorganic, but I do know that you enjoy, bringing presentations and final versions of things to their, highest refinement or their, I guess, deepest refinement. So how do you navigate wanting to present things in a meaningful or exceptional manner and not falling or, like you said, disassociating from the structure and the strategy that does kind of got to go into that. Yeah. Right, I mean, could go into that. It doesn't got to.
I would say that I just go with what feels most natural to me. So I more so go with a feeling before the sight of things, the view of things. So most times like it's like a ladder of things. Like I said this to you before, like there's energy first, and then there's a thought, then there's a feeling, and there's the action. So it kind of goes into like that storytelling vibe. Like I know I want to tell a story. I know I'm placed here to tell stories, but not just like through words, but through vision and execution. And I know that I love colors, I love fabrics, I love textures, and there's a certain placement that comes with those things. So I go with what I feel, and then it just so happens to work out visually and physically. But it's something that you tap into, it's like a language to me that I'm speaking outwardly. It's like a story I'm telling outwardly with like this place actually. When I mentioned the way things are like properly placed next to each other, it can be like a color palette or like a frequency of textures and sequence of colors back to back next to each other. So I kind of like go with what I feel feels right. You know, like colors carry a frequency, certain like fabrics and textures have like a certain frequency or like quality to it. Like you know like what's it? Polyester is a poor quality of fabric and it produces a certain frequency. So cotton and silk and all of those things being like cohesively brought together feels right. So it's all about what like feels right to me as opposed to like what's gonna um not opposed to, but like it just has to attract a certain energy within my system for me to feel like, oh, this is right. You know what I mean? Like it's like arousing to me.
Yeah, that scares the hell out of me all the time. We together, so I'm like, I'm also being mindful of how what you're saying actually makes me feel,
Yeah.
right? And when you're saying that, it makes me think of myself, like,
Oh my god.
how much I do not trust my cognitive blueprint. I've been working on that lately.
Mhm.
I trust myself to know, like what you just said, but
Yeah.
I think where I find inconsistency in that, and that's why I'm doing this conversation with you in a wellness space, because I know this conversation for people, they could pick out their parts and resonate with it, where it's like, I've been predisposed to things that were depleting to me.
Mhm.
And then, I associated goodness or right to the things that were not good for me.
Mhm.
So that's why I guess I've always been maybe like insecure or afraid of letting my feelings guide me because of like hard lessons that I had to learn from not knowing why I do the things I do. So like now I work on just trying to understand why I do the things I do. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily change it. So like you said, if I feel strongly about something, or it might just be something that's unpaved or unknown. So like, I gotta see that through, blah blah blah. As far as I forget I'm an energy, I can't blah 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 these days. I'm seeing them through so that I can learn myself better and understand if that's what I would like to integrate into my long term self and sustainable being.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm also very afraid of just going into that based on how I feel because of just like what I mentioned. I'm just circling back, like just being predisposed to things that were, I guess, disguised as joy or enjoyment or fulfillment and things like that, and they were really like depleting me, and they weren't completing me. So
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. What would you say as far as like where you learned to trust how you feel about things? How did you get there?
Proof. I think proof shows up every day, all day. I think proof is in numbers, signs, synchronicities, songs, movement. Proof is in our everyday life, like evidence, you know? Um, I don't want to go straight into like eclectricity, but my storytelling is rooted in the evidence I see in life and the things that the universe and God and life brings to me on a day-to-day basis. Like the way that people respond to me, the way that I can go into a room and make a new friend or a new connection, or just like everyday life that's constantly mirroring back onto me. Like those things are real. That's reality, or my reality. And I take those things very seriously. I don't just think things happen like, it's no coincidence. Like this is like divinely aligned, um, divine timing and placement of it all. So I just listen. I pay attention. I absorb and I observe. So all of it just goes into one thing, which helps me actualize these things. Where you were saying about trusting yourself and like the feeling, it's also like I connected with style too. And I say this all the time, like style is an extension of our spirit. So what feels right to me always goes through like this tunnel of like check offs, like a list or whatever. If I go straight to like the feeling comes before seeing because I had moments of me seeing something in my mind before I actualized it and it didn't turn out like the way I thought it would. And it's like, oh, I saw this in my mind, but I didn't really feel it yet. I just went with like the vision. But when I feel, most importantly, when the highest percentage, like 75% of it is feeling, and the rest is like, it follows behind it.
All right, so I have everybody always bring the things that they're creating. You don't have anything for me to create. You didn't bring me nothing.
I didn't. I thought I was just creating.
Yeah, it's like teaching. Because I don't want to do that anyway. It's very difficult, right? I watched her do this at home 1,000 times, and it's like I would stress myself out with the level of very intricate details that go into this. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let you explain, what I mean, what you're doing here and what you're working on as we're talking, so that y'all can have more insight. Because I know y'all probably see you got this lamp here. We have things going on the table that I would love you to explain for us before I get into any of my questions.
Yeah, so I can talk about the brand.
Yeah.
Okay, so my brand is called Eclectricity, and it is the embodiment of being an electrical magnetic being that is fueled by, as I said earlier, like the elements of life and all things around us, like shape, color, texture, movement, sight, sound, uh, all the things that are a representation of our inner glow shining outwardly. So most of the tangible products that I make um, are a representation of our light just being dressed up and adorned and just telling a story. So I have one of my lamps here. This is called Money Tree. I named this beauty Money Tree. See all the greens and the gold. As I started making it, I thought about abundance. I felt really abundant as I was like putting each charm on, and the color green always like amplifies that feeling for me. So that is, I am working on a 7 lamp collection, which is like a line of just our inner glow shining outwardly and being dressed up. And that's how I feel as I get dressed. I'm also like a stylist too. So the things that we wear and the things that we put on and adorn ourselves with are just a representation of how we're feeling, how our spirits want to tell stories throughout this life. And I also am working on a glass collection. So you can put plants in here, you can put like lights in here, like you can use it as a lantern. Um, and all of the things that I use are of different like textures. So I work with beads, I work with paint, glass, um, what's it called? Crochet yarn. So I deconstructed this lampshade. I took all of its fabric out and I just wired and just kind of dressed it up with crochet yarn and made it look all shaggy because I like mixing like fine art with like the ruggedness, the like the gritty kind of like shag look. So it's all elements of myself in my art because I feel very refined sometimes and I also feel like rigid and textured texturized, and sometimes I'm not always like my most polished self. And I love that. Like, that's the embodiment of being multidimensional and multifaceted, is all elements of self, is all cohesively bonding and getting along and creating together and maximizing off of this human experience. So my brand is about telling that story about being magnetic and electrical. Yeah.
That's powerful. And anytime somebody asks me, I low key fumble. I know I be fumbling because you just did that, and I'm like, that's not. Yeah, I mean, I think about the first 5 seconds of what you did is about as far as I get, but it take me like 30 seconds to say. I'm like, yeah, it's like when you put the electricity together with the magnetism of who you are, and then it shows up in the things that you do and the things that she creates, because she creates stuff. Like, so I need to get my electricity pitch together. Can you spell it for them? Because when you said it so quick. I know my AI is not like that.
So it's eclectricity, and to break it down, it's electricity and eclectism. So eclectism, when you look up the meaning for eclectism, I'm paraphrasing, but it means like derived from like more than one aspect of existence in self. And then, electricity is like you being powered and like ignited by a source. So electricity is eclectism and electricity together. So it's Eclectricity. So it's electricity with the C in between the E and the L, you know? So yeah, and it's electricity powered by infinite energy. That's the whole like slogan in line. Like, we're powered by infinite energy. So that's what I'm here to tell. Like, I'm here to tell that story through tangible things, but also first and foremost energy. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that explanation, because I know that's you can pin that right on your profile, and then the ass now it's like you go ahead and watch that.
Right though.
I didn't get that.
No more confusion.
Yeah,
No more confusion. And people still gonna be confused, but it's all good. I actually like the fact that some people stumble on the word, because I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that tool. We're gonna maximize off of that too. And that's what we're here for, to maximize off of the experience. So even when people, don't know, it's always a teachable moment.
Very much so.
For them to get to know. So if you don't know, now you know.
I almost finished it.
You could have.
They're trying to monetize. Keep me cute. So I guess my first question for today, because you've been talking about creation and energy and just how you navigate self, I want to start with this question. When you're creating, whether performing, curating, holding space, what part of yourself are you actually protecting, and what part are you offering?
I like that.
That was cooking up.
That was a great question.
Some dope over here, you hear me?
What part am I protecting and what part am I offering? Give me a moment.
Yeah, man.
Because I like to sit with things and read them in. What part of me am I offering? Trying to put myself in the space of it. I'm offering parts of my inner child. That's one thing I know for sure. My inner child is literally the thriving force of all things that I create. Whether it's like my poetry, playing with like colors and textures and beads and coloring, like it brings me back to that version of myself that was fearless, that was able to just be her freest, authentic self without hesitation, without worrying how other people will perceive it. Um, this is like my inner child's playground. You know, when I visualize it, I see my inner child literally run into a playground on a slide, on the swings, just like going from one thing to the next. And that's how I express myself. One thing to the next.
Yeah.
You know, like some things I sit with, other things I entertain and explore and I allow to just freely go. And I believe that's like that inner child energy, you know? Like when you get a toy,
Yeah.
and you love that toy, and then you get another toy and you love that other toy, you know? Or another way, like you get that toy and you just stay on that toy and you just get attached to that toy. So there's some things within my expression that I know that I'll be doing for probably a lifetime, or I will be known for, because I held it so closely. Like my poetry, my words. That's I started writing to um free my inner child. And I feel like in a sense of it is what I protect also, if that makes sense. Like both can exist at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know? So the parts of me that create and don't put it out, or the parts of me that create and then don't like it, or um, criticize my own work, or procrastinate, or overthink, or doubt. Um, those are the parts of me that I protect. Yeah.
No, I found that interesting because, like you said, when you were describing it, I actually was like, I was having a hard time distinguishing, like, are you offering this or are you protecting this?
Mhm.
Right? So you got there though. Like that was kind of like they're in the same space. I wanna, I guess, like, when it comes down to, vulnerability,
Mhm.
um, and like creating boundaries, like what you were saying. I saw the yin and yang of like what just happened right there, right? Like
Yeah.
trying to be vulnerable, but getting exposed in areas that ain't ready yet, or like having boundaries or being open, and then like just the unseen, carrying, or like the labor that kind of comes with doing the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
So, um, what did you have to learn the hard way about giving too much, like in your offerings?
Mhm.
Or I guess also, I mean, that might complement the protection part too, since it kind of like leans on each other.
Yeah. I had to learn that sometimes people are just infatuated with what you're sharing.
Okay.
They get stuck on what you shared, and then they get closer to you, and it's not as shiny as it looked from afar, I guess. And I had to learn the difference between people who actually valued and cherished my gifts that I shared, and people who just wanted to get close to it, to dim it, to say they had a piece of it, to just get their rocks off. I had to learn that because at one point, I was too trusting of people who loved me and who loved what I did or do or how I expressed myself. But it wasn't my version of love. It was how they wanted to love me, how they wanted to pick at me, dissect what I had going on. It's that whole infatuation type energy.
Yeah, shit. That excuse. That's probably how like their inner child expresses itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you were mentioning how you may play with things that resonate with your. That's probably something that's how they resonate with their inner child is maybe playing with people's lives.
Yeah.
So like.
It's all reflection.
Yeah, it could potentially be a reflection in how they're like, wait, we don't play like this. I remember being at the playground and like, we will be playing play fighting, but play fighting to me meant this is an opportunity for me to hit you. That's how I took it. Like, oh, oops. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I didn't play fight for it. I never really played fight.
Yeah.
I was always looking for an opportunity to hit you.
Yeah.
So everybody's not playing the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I give a shit to me.
It's all over
definitely, yeah. So you think we playing until
we're not. Until we're not.
It's not funny, but I'm just thinking it's child. I'm just being childish. Like I can
like
remember my inner child. Yeah, I just remember that in me.
I like how you brought that back to me.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, it's all me experiencing me.
Yeah.
So I would like to acknowledge that everything we experience always brings us back to ourselves. So even me just expressing myself in this way through this outlet creatively, some people use that energy and express it romantically or through their relationships, whether it's platonically or not. But like it's all the same energy, just through a different tunnel, different channel. So yeah. It's me, back to me. It's me experiencing me at the end of the day. Hey. It's a baby.
It's me.
It's me, baby. That's a good genre. I appreciate you reflecting that back onto me.
Yeah, man,
Give me a little something to think about a little further, like damn. But hey, maybe that'll free me a little bit.
That's what it's. That's why I was always aware of. I thought that was my dog. Well, he waved. It just made me think of. Like, I had this conversation before you got in here with a brother that was like, he was walking around like some of the grievance that he had, and I'm like, I get it. You don't trust me. You don't want to tell me how fuck niggas, right? I get it, but I'm like, it's choking you. It's choking your ability to actually say what you really want to say. Yeah. So like once you get that out, then it'll probably unblock what it is that you really want to feel and see from your relationship. So I did him a favor, and I was like, I ain't gonna say I did him a favor, but I added value where I seen some lack, I should say. And I'm saying I'm it's a favor because I favor him, and I believe that he has favor in the eyes of the Most High. So I believe I'm just passing and revealing that favor when I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm fucking giving you a $5 bill. So I'm saying I'm giving my favor because I'm like, I just cut through it all because I could feel the angst of the description, and I just want to let you know the only reason I'm taking this phone call from you is because I care about you. Yeah. Everybody called me to work with me on Still Growing. Mm-hmm. So I only answered your call because we have some rapport and I actually care about your well-being. Right. So I'm telling you now, like, we should work on creating spaces that, like, refine and allow us to pour into one another. You ain't got to keep serving everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to keep showing up and feeling like your gift is something that, like we just described, has to always be offered. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta protect your gift and stick with the ones who wanna enlist in that effort. Absolutely. Of refining and housing your gift. You know what I mean? So that's what made me think of that follow up question was just because even this morning we was talking about just really navigating that uncomfortable stuff, the stuff that you have to learn the hard way. That's actually information as well. You know what I mean? You want to use that shit to kind of like. It's all a tool. Yeah, you want to avoid that part. It's all a tool. Especially with the people you care about. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's keep going. You helped me, just to like even segue to my next question. This isn't my full next question. I just want to introduce the fact that, Tony helped me put this together as a creative director. Mind you, it was just a bunch of scribble. It was just a bunch of words. And then, like, I was able to really, going to your point, protect my idea You know what I mean? Because I wanted to offer it, but I didn't want to put it in a position where I was exposing it to a bunch of people. So when y'all see the magazine, it just features me and her. And I feel like that was a defining moment because I always had a habit of trying to get everybody involved with stuff. And I remember being there, brainstorming it, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of exhausting myself. I want to protect my energy. I want to protect my idea, what I'm offering. And I'm so happy that I did not involve anybody but you. You know what I mean? Because it was all I needed. And I even remember one day, I don't know if you mind me sharing this, but one day we was kind of upset with each other while we was trying to do the shoot. And it didn't, it's not, no, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna get too much tea, but it's like, in those moments, it's like,
I remember this thing.
Yeah. In those moments, you gotta be willing to like actually value what somebody else's vision or passion, like with the things that they need to do, because you could easily just be like, because it's fuck you, it's fuck the idea now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't want to help you anymore because I don't want to help you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you ain't do that. You were like, you know what I mean? You stuck it through. So, I just want to just introduce, the magazine and something that we co-collaborated on, and just get some of your insight that you'd like to share with them about the process of making a magazine.
I'm still very excited about this magazine. I was just talking to my mom about this, and she's like, "Why you didn't give me one?" Right. So we gotta give mom one. This is actually like the first time I've ever collaborated with my lover, my partner. And I want a magazine. Like,
how'd you smiling?
I really do. I'm smitten. So I would like a magazine for my brand, and I thought about, like, before a meeting, I was like, dang, I want to have a magazine. And then it was like, I was like, you want to have a magazine?
Right.
So, as someone who models and creative directs, it just came to me, like, the process of it all just kind of came to me effortlessly. Like, the way I thought about shooting and, like, the different, like, placement of things. And I, I feel like we work very well together. I don't feel that way. I know we work very well together. And it just effortlessly just took place. And I think that's one of the things that I value the most in creating with you, is that there's no, like, tug and pull, push and pull type of thing. Like, we trust each other's vision and the way you word things and deliver them as well. You don't give yourself, all the credit. You don't give yourself enough credit of how you uh like actualize things creatively. But I see it. Like, you know what I mean? You give me all the credit, like, but you be creative directing too as well. And when you were showing me how you were, designing the magazine and things you were putting it in, I was like, what? Like, baby, you ate that. You ate that all up. Like, it was one thing seeing it, like, in your phone, the placement of things, but then when it came in the mail, and then when we flipped through it, I was like, wow. So it was definitely a great team effort with the photo shoot day, and just like your trust in me to execute my vision and our vision. And it was like we was running track, and I was the, like, starter with the baton. Yeah. And then relay race drawing. And I handed you that drawing, you just finished it off. So it was like that. That's what it felt like. So it was a great creative flow, I believe.
So, yeah. All right. So that brings me to my next question very, very well in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one's more about love and healing and stuff like that. So, how has being deeply loved and deeply seen changed the way you move through your work and the way that you care for yourself. So let me repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
How has being deeply loved and deeply seen changed the way you move through your work and the way you care for yourself?
Oh, that's beautiful. Let me marinate on it. Again, I can speak. I'm gonna speak of something like very in particular, or I'll lead with that. So when I was telling you about my vision and things I wanted to do and stuff that I needed and what I felt like I didn't have, and you were like, I support you. Like, let me know what you need. Um, that is a reflection of me being loved and supported. And it's like the little things, you know? And that is one of the moments that made me like wanna just be go hard. And I don't mean like go hard or go home, but like I mean like just those moments really do help me see that it's bigger than me. Because sometimes when I allow it to just be about me, I'll fumble. Like I'll kind of just like fumble the bed where I'll like pass it like cause it just being just about me, which it never is. But I was saying like if I make it about me and what I feel like doing or what I don't have and things like that, it doesn't have enough driving force. And that's why I do what I do and why I do what I do and how I do it, it's because I know it's not just me. When I'm speaking poetically and I'm performing and I'm sharing myself, I know that's not just me. I know those aren't just my words. I know that isn't my energy that's carrying it the way it's carrying it. I know that it's me telling a story for my ancestors, for the past and the future. You know what I mean? I know that it's bigger than me. So like that love and that consideration and those like pushes and my friends, invested in some beads or like some yarn, like it seems small but it's so big. And that's how I know like those things help me know in my knowing that it's bigger than me. And that I have to keep going. Not out of force, but out of love, out of gentle love, and not out of survival, but out of like producing something that'll carry a message on for lifetimes outside of me. Like when I create, I think about my grandchildren. I think about passing on something to my daughter and then my grandchild saying like grandma made this or somebody like because I compliment people and they're like, oh my grandma gave this and I'm like, damn, grandma be passing the good stuff down. Like damn, grandma had all the goods. And I know like when I'm creating or when I'm telling a story through poetry or when even the way I dress, that's all storytelling to me. And the love that I get back from that. Like I've had friends tell me like, yo, I wore it because I knew you was gonna be here. Mm-hmm. Like I wore this because I knew you was gonna appreciate like how I came through. That's love. And that's those things that's the thing that keeps me going and showing up even when I don't feel like it. It's because it's bigger than me. Love is a representation of it being not bigger, beyond. I like to say beyond. It's beyond me. Because I don't feel like things are bigger than me. I'm colossal. I'm huge. But like beyond me, as in like outside of this whole realm and this dimension of the seen, it's the unseen that sometimes just feels better. There's things that I can't see yet that I know I've changed already. I know I changed it already. I know I watered it. I know I'm nurturing it. It's beyond me, you know. So I just gotta keep going because it's gonna show up. Even if I can't see it, it's gonna show up in another lifetime or through another life that's here right now.
Yeah, that was. I can see that that was the one for you.
Yeah,
That was the
man.
one. Baby, love her some love.
I really do.
Yeah, that was the one.
I really do. I love me some love, like.
Yeah, that was the one. I love that.
And when you give me the space to, when I give myself the space to receive it, man, that's.
That magazine would have never came out because that was the motivating factor. Was like, well, maybe our kids can read it. Because normally I would just base things off of ROI, like how am I gonna make my money back from this?
Yeah.
So if I don't have a clear like plan for that, I'm not gonna copy it. That was the only thing that kind of pushed that one through. Was like, oh, even if they don't sell heavy, that's something I share with my kids.
Yeah.
That was definitely the determining factor. So I ain't look at it like that. Love definitely pushed that one past the press. For sure. Because I would have never bought that at all.
Yeah, man. It'd be beyond us. Beyond the physical, for real.
Yeah, and I do want to, take some time to even just reflect on the time that we've been together. Because it's like, I feel like my life just been going super fast since I known you.
Yeah.
And I've been taking the time now to like slow down stuff because just I know what builds empires. I know what builds families. I know what builds neighborhoods. I just know what builds things from the smallest, from self all the way to the top. So you can't like just run on 60 all year. They got a lot of us doing that, but that's not how you're supposed to be doing that.
Right.
So I'm honoring self and like, as I reflect on these things, like I just be like, I think of one of the most reoccurring things that have been shown to me ever since we did that event the other day on December 1st. It was like, like damn, I haven't really been protecting what I've been doing. I always be trying to share it.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff is like I always learn like as a man specifically, but it's in all of our nature that but to the men it's like you either gonna build it or you just gonna destroy it. And I realized like metaphorically and energetically, I would be building stuff a lot of times. And then a lot of times, like, I would go look at my work and wonder why it's so undone or, like, unkept. Because, like, it's because y'all niggas is destroying it. With y'all mindset, with your ideas and, like, the fear and, like, all this stuff. So I was like, I had to learn what I think the most valuable lesson I've learned being around you is, like, to not be like sharing everything as much as I would like to. It's not always meant for me to share. And I've seen a great deal of like, just personal development and mind you, I kind of like still did it a lot, but a lot less than I did. You know what I mean? Like if you'd have called me before, I would have shared 100 ideas. This year I guess still shared about 10. And I saw 9 of them get, you know what I mean? So it's like, I learned my lesson very clearly, like, oh, no, this isn't a good way of self-actualizing, because like you just said, I'm going to see it through. You know what I mean? One thing about my direction creatively is this is going to happen, especially if I put my mind to it. And, I'm going to be honest with myself about how it can show up in its current state, and then also reaching out to people like yourself or anybody else who's going to help me present it or refine it in a better way. I know what I'm not good at. I ain't afraid to not be good at that shit.
Right.
So, it just was, that's something that I've always been, well, that's something that I've come to understand since recently at that Monday event is like protection has been like the thing that, I've learned a lot from you. And I told you when I met you, like part of what really let me know that I could trust you is because you hold me accountable. A lot of niggas, they just like being in my mix. I remember one time, like, somebody was like, it's Philly. A lot of, they said, a lot of people only be on that. Shouts out to Reason. It was Reason. He's like, bro, a lot of people just be on that black power shit when they're around you. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't really be caring about that. And I'm like, that's very evident to me from the way that they behave and the way that they act, but they felt so convicted to sound that way or perform that way when they be around me and stuff. So I just know what level of influence I have on people, and I've just been more, just been more protected now instead of just like making myself so accessible so that people could be playing around in my face and acting like they want to do something when really they're like. And Sheen said it to me the other day. Shouts out to Sheen. The reason he protects me and the reason, I need to be protected is there's a lot of people, and Reason also said this to me. A lot of people who care about me, the only ones who say that, he said, Reason said it this way. He said, people are just waiting for you to like get to Universal or Warner Brothers. They're just waiting for you to strike that deal so they can be like, "Yep." And TJ had all my intellectual property. So like, I'm going. He's my ticket to get to where I'm not willing to do the work to go. Right. And then Sheen said the same thing. He said, like verbatim, he like, because what's not gonna happen is when it finally works out, everybody's gonna try and pop out and act like they was your friend because they bought a hat or because they watched a video or something or they said your name. It's like we're not doing that. And so, even yourself like witnessing it in real time, because I know that they care about me, but they've never needed to act on that in real time. So that I had just witnessed you like act on protecting me in real time, and I'm like, well, dang, I was letting them get off on me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be letting people get off on me all the time. Like, and Baby was like, nah, we ain't going like that. We ain't going out like that. So like, yeah, love definitely be in the room. If there's anything else you want to add to that sentiment before we go to the next question, feel free. But otherwise.
No, I just want to piggyback off of that and just say, cause you'll be like, it's a woman thing. It's a woman thing. Like women see things differently than men, and that's true. But I also not just as a woman, just like as someone who like really loves you. Like I have a different antenna going on. Like my senses will start tingling. Like in the moment I'm like something ain't right here, and I also pay attention to. I pay attention to the things you say. I told you that yesterday. Like I listen to what you say, how you say it, who you talk about, how you speak about them. Like it's all an energy thing. So I know what's going on, and like I thank you for allowing me to protect you, and cause you could just be like, I got this, I don't need you to do this, but you allow me to take up space in your world in that way. So I appreciate you for doing that and allowing me to do that, cause that's also love too, and that also helps me continue to show up in the way that I show up my day to day. And you are my day to day. I've been saying that for a while now. Like you really my day to day. So I can't have nobody fucking with my day to day. I can't have nobody fucking with my day to day. That's just all I gotta say.
I want to talk legacy. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about community. We've been kind of like alluding to these things. I'm keeping a good pace today, y'all. Like I got my middle questions lined up with my big questions. You feel me? Like I like you did. So this is a good pace. So the legacy part, leading from love into legacy and community and, how the future looks. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
All right. If someone walks into Eclectricity or a space that you curate feeling disconnected, what do you hope shifts inside them? And what kind of world are you quietly helping build through that shift? I'll say it one more time.
Okay, can we break that up into two?
Let's do that. Yes.
What's the first part of it?
If someone walks into Eclectricity space that you curate and they're feeling disconnected, what do you hope shifts inside them? Let's just do that first.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I can speak from experience with
Electric Nights.
Yeah. So I want to say curate. I hold space. And the space is called Eclectric Nights, which is open mic experience, and not just open mic, but just like a self empowerment experience. So you can just come as your most electrified self. And I've had people tell me that they almost didn't come They were having a bad day. Things were, not moving in the way that they desired to within their day, and they still showed up. And the responses that I get and the love that I get when people just show up, it's a really beautiful thing. And I always pray for people's fullness and their wholeness and their, quality of life and how they see things and perceive them when things are taking place. I don't like to say when things are being done to them, but when things are taking place.
Yeah.
There's a certain way that you can, what's the word she always use? Transmute.
Yeah.
There's a certain way that you can transmute things, and I believe that you can transmute things through the elements of life. Like I said, it's in our day to day. Every day, I feel like there are things that are taking place to elevate our experience, and music does it. Instruments. I'm naming things that are within the space that I curate. So I know when I hear music, when I hear a live instrument, I know that it's connecting to like something in my spirit. So me providing those things, I wish for people to take themselves away from it. Take themselves enjoying life, enjoying music, enjoying being dressed up as their flyest version, being able to connect with other people who are doing the exact same thing. Because collective energy is like the best energy for me. Like it creates the most noise. It creates the biggest of change and transformation. So I hope that they take away unity and know that they have a place to come to retreat, and to be, to dance, to flow, to connect, to vibe. Just a good time. For real, for real. And not just like a good time that's forced on you, but a good time that's like a version of yourself that you would like to experience.
Literally enjoying yourself.
Yeah, that you would like to experience. Like I hope we take you away from this experience.
Yeah.
Not the you that came in with all the problems. And I know that we go back to what we have going on, but it's like it's nothing like going back to what we have going on with a different viewing it through a different lens and seeing it from a different perspective and being able to digest things in a different manner. Because sometimes people just need a different perspective. Sometimes people need to experience things outside of their own reality to know that exists.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can attest to that. Like you said, man, people be pulling up to that drum and, they be changing their whole vibe up. You know what I mean? Especially, like you said, like the fact that they can even be able to experience it with you. You know what I mean? That you're still in paying breach. Like, that be meaning a lot to people. And so the second part of that question that goes right in alignment with is like, what kind of world are you quietly what kind of world are you quietly helping build through that shift? Right? So the shift that you've given them, how do you make that happen? Like what is the world that you're quietly building where all of this is housed, and that how did that get into them? Like how is that shift even happening? Something's happening and clearly you're architecting it. I remember in the beginning of this, we talked about there not being too much strategy to any of this, right? But how does this even happen this way?
Yeah, you just show up. You just be yourself. And I know we were talking about the exhaustion of being your authentic self. But it's like you find your people being who you truly are. You connect with those who are on that same type time, the same frequency, collective energy, by being exactly who you are designed to be. And I think that's how the message get through to people. Like I don't even have to share all of the intentions of what I have going on. People just feel it. They know because it's an energy, and that's why I call it eclectricity, because it's an energy. It's like a pulse. it's like a pulsation, like an arousing of my spirit, like taking place in this world. And it's an electrified world to me. It's a magnetic world for me. So when the more I speak, the more I show up, it just amplifies. Just like a thought or idea. How the more you believe in something, or the more you tell other people and they believe in it, it become a fact.
Absolutely.
That's how I navigate. That's how this life is. The more you be yourself, the more you are a fact. the more that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of world I'm pursuing, and I'm building, and I'm watering, I'm nurturing. The world where you just show up and it creates change, good change. And I know we all have our different perspective of like what's good and what's bad, but where we show up as ourselves and we create change that heals people, that uplifts people, that makes people want to dance and sing and carry and tell stories other than just through our words, but through just all different types of frequencies and vibrations that was presented here for us to do so. Got my beads go. Got my beads going. But yeah, that's the world. It's a colorful world I live in. That's why I use all of these colors, because I'm delivering something to people. Whether like they can hear me vocalize it or they can just see it and tell their own story through it. But yeah, you just gotta show up, be in that vessel, and not forcefully. Like, when I was in like past versions of myself would try to make change by drilling something through somebody's like brain, like, I want you to get it. So I want to keep saying it, and it was becoming a disservice to myself because I was trying to get that point across and trying to create change, and change don't happen that way. You just gotta be. You just gotta be the seed and allow it to plant in spaces where people are the most receptive of it. Because it may not be through what you have to say. It might be in the way that you walk. It might be in the way that you dance. It might be in the way that you set up a store and place certain things. It's all storytelling. So, yeah, I'm creating a different language on how to tell stories.
Can even be in the way that you wear still growing.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. From the spirit of creation and, diving deeper from creation and, learning all of the etymology and all of the, whether it's science or religion and stuff that go into creation, and then learning about energy and all of the different cultures and how people identify with the same thing, whether it be evil or good,
Yeah, right.
works of the world, and, finding yourself. These are all things that we, I say we, just speaking to me and you, in the modern day, we do that with music and we do that with clothes, and we create these mediums as creative people, or as you mentioned, a multi-dimensional being, just bringing different senses of experience that maybe not as visible, you mentioned the unseen. And, I think a lot of times, what you mentioned with proof, something that was scary to me in the beginning conversation is that sometimes, the proof of actualizing one's self through creation can look like death, or loss, or, just things that are, we have the ability to manage, but if we mismanage them, these are the results, right? Incompletion, depletion, procrastination, and, the ills of sin and whatnot for all my Christian brothers and sisters. But the whole thing about, Christianity or religion and all of those things that we use to self-govern ourselves, like we talked about here today, it's about spreading love and loving yourself and knowing that love, can be, as you mentioned, infinite energy that powers, self-actualization and showing up in a way that is designed by the mind. and by the spirit itself, you dig? So,
Yeah.
I also want to recap with y'all just the idea of, being visible and, being seen. And then also like, what we talked about as far as just like exposure and sometimes things exposing you and how that can be uncomfortable. But some of that information is important. Yeah, just to get yourself out there and, getting started. It's much more important and healthy than suppressing and holding on to ideas that you really feel passionate about. And that even just goes into like, why we make these publications or we bring our art into the world because essentially it's the legacy that we leave. You know what I mean? And like how people around us connect with that shit, it can help them form like the culture or the traditions they want to pass down and stuff. And ultimately develop the future. So, at the end of the day, it can always just seem as simple as throwing an event or an open mic or, starting a t-shirt brand. And I can understand why people are dissuaded from those things because it seems like there's a lot of that in the world. But like what you're saying with being electrified, it's like it's about bringing me a piece to the puzzle as well. Under like you mentioned, things going beyond what you're doing. So you might have just I gave them free merch shipping kid the other day. That nigga might become Virgil or something, right? I might not become him, but him getting some free shit might have went from him going to Pablo Escobar to Virgil. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, that's just my recap. Did you want to like leave everybody with anything before we go? You know what I mean? I'm not, I have no formal outros. I guess it's like, if you want people to find you or anything, or like some wise words, I'm gonna kick a 16, do a dance, whatever you want to do.
Well, I don't have any wise words. They could just, connect with me if they desire to. My IG is House of Lavell, House of with a period, Lavell. And Eclectricity's page with all my, tangibles and the things that I am expressing outwardly is EC with a dot, electricity. Lectricity. And that's it. Stay electric. That's it. Peace.
You did a peace sign.
You did live there? Of course you did, nigga.